Well, hey everybody, backyard scrapping here. And as promised, I said I was going to do a couple little scrapping videos. I did go to the cardiologist yesterday. Everything's looking good. So I'm still just going to take it easy for a few more days. Armando and Robin, thank you very, very much for sending me this card. If you guys ever need something neat or a card or something special made, go get up with Armando, because Robin makes all of her cards and she does a really good job. I mean, that is awesome the way this is made. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I have it sitting over here on my desk. And anyhow, I get back to the video. I have several little things. As scrappers, we all end up piling up some little things here and there that we just don't ever seem to get to. So this probably seems like a good time to get to them. I've got some remotes. I'm really hoping that that's not what I need. I know this and this aren't. This is actually a computer remote. I don't know if they're still making them, but back in the day, HP actually made a... oh, there's a battery in it too. I need to test that battery. But HP actually made a laptop that had a remote control. You could use a remote control to play videos on. I don't know exactly how far away somebody can sit from a laptop and see it. I know anymore I can't sit very far away, so maybe this kind of didn't go over. But anyway, this is an old DVD player remote. I think I scrapped the DVD. I'm pretty sure I did, because it wasn't working, the DVD player. This came in a box of scrap. This is my old sugar testing thing. It's pretty much very outdated, but it does, the best part of this actually, believe it or not, is these little fellas, because these little guys have palladium in them. So that's good. Now, I do have a bottle. I was saving them for a while years ago. I've got a bottle of them in alcohol somewhere over that way. But this is almost a full bottle of those, but I've checked it against my new one and it's not accurate at all. So we have that. Now, I've never scrapped one of these. I've never opened one of these up. This one is so old it actually came with the little programming chip. It had a little chip that programmed each specific bottle to the unit, which was kind of a pain in the butt. But anyway, this is an old blood pressure thing. This was my dad's, but the cuff got bad. And this probably still works, maybe. I don't even know, but we don't have a cuff for it. And by the time you buy a cuff, you can buy a whole new machine. This is a video camera that Cheryl actually got on eBay that we didn't even have to return. She got her money back for it because it is an absolute piece of junk. I mean, junk. In fact, this put the J in junk. And this is an old or an older wireless adapter. So you can see how big that is. And this has got a little bit, you know, we know we're going to have some gold here, and it's got the gold connector back here. But exactly what's inside it, I have no idea. I've never taken one of these apart either. So I've taken cameras apart, I've taken remotes apart, I've never taken this apart, or this apart, or this. So I'm going to get started. I think I really want to start on this thing. I want to see what's in this. And I know there's a little chip on the back of each of these, and like I said, those test strips are actually palladium plated. So I'm going to start with this thing, and let me get some stuff over here, some stuff to crack this open, and some screwdrivers, and then we'll just move on. So I'll be back at you guys in just a second. Okay, guys, we got this little, I got everything cleared off. We got this little AccuCheck booger that we're going to take apart. And more or less, I'm just curious, there's probably not really anything in here that's that great. Like I said, each one of these coders has a little chip on the back. Here's another one that's in there. We already know we have some palladium here, so I don't have to mess with that. I do have to tend to try to be a little bit more careful now because I don't want to get cut because I'm on blood thinners for the time being. I'm really hoping I can get off of those. I don't want to be on those. But, so I'm going to pop one of these off. They just look like standard little, they look like little EPROMs. Little 8-legged EPROMs. Let me get my headset and see. Yeah, that's basically what they look like. And the legs are just spread out across the bottom for this code. This is actually 1994. That's what it says they're dated down here. 1994. So these little chips might be decent. So I'm going to try and pull one out. And we'll crack it open and see what's in there. Legs look like just regular old legs. And I can see a little copper where I scratched it there. There's nothing else on that. That's just plastic. So let me get a cutter here. Get one that works a little better, a little stronger, so I don't have to squeeze so hard. And let's see if we can see what's inside these. Hopefully there's some gold in them. And I see a little metal plate that's copper. There's might be a little tiny, let me get something to point with. I know it's very small on the camera up there, but I'm not going to break out another camera. Looks like there's a little gold plating right there on the leg, on the inside of the leg. I'm going to see, it looks like there may be some bond wires going to this little die. So I'm going to get out my little 60 power dude. That's another little oddball chip. And I'm going to see if there's any bond wire in there. If there is, I may break out the scope so we can see it. There's something there. I can't tell if it's bond wires or not. It's very small. And if I can't see it with this, I'm not going to be able to see it with the scope for sure. So let's see. Okay, I can see what appears to be bond wires. I don't think they're gold. Maybe silver. That may be silver plating right there. But I don't see any gold bond wires inside. Or it could be palladium. I mean, they use palladium for these, so it very well might be palladium. So I am going to hang on to that. Hang on to these. I'll just put that in there. We know that. That's garbage. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these out, and we'll get back to you. Okay, guys, well, that was easy enough. I mean, they're relatively easy to get out. When I think of how many of these things have been tossed in the trash, along with how many of these things have just been tossed in the trash, you know, I mean, I've been using a tester for 15 years. My mom used it. My brother-in-law used one, and now they're actually graphite. Where it hooks up or connects into the machine, it's actually graphite, or most of them are graphite now, so they're not even using precious metal on them anymore. But anyhow, let's go ahead and see if we can get into this thing and see what makes it tick. If there's anything good in here, we got a couple of buttons, so we might have a Mylar in there. And we just keep it trucking. Okay, guys, we got in there. There was a little star screw right there. I should have figured that right away when I couldn't get it to pull apart. That's just some scrap steel or scrap metal. Yeah, so that's just scrap. Let me get one more thing I want to look at real quick. Okay, so what I am seeing here, it's a gold, there's gold plating on the board. Looks like pretty decent gold plating too. Of course, you got to remember this thing's if these were 1994, this thing is probably from around 1990. We got a big flat pack or four-sided chip. There's actually a couple tantalums in here. And I'm going to continue on tearing this apart, see what kind of connectors we got in here, where that chip plugs in, and we'll see what this stuff is. So I will be back at you in a second. Okay. Alright, under this, no gold plating here. So this connector, or this where these chips slid in, there's no gold there. This is, I am not actually sure, but this actually does have gold plated pins in it right there, that little connector. So I'm just going to pop it off. And it looks like pretty decent plating in there. Again, it's probably, hard to see. But so this is nothing. There is gold plating under it. If I pull that off, naturally you have there's solder there, but I can see underneath that this is gold plating. Let me check this board. So that's a little bit of scrap metal. And the board itself underneath is copper, so this is just spot plating on here. But that's actually not too bad. There's a big, I don't see, that doesn't say capacitor, so I know there's some resistors on here. There's this big MLCC looking thing. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not one of those super guys that knows what every part on a board is. I just, I just guess if I don't know. But there is some small 8-leg 2-sided chips. I'm actually going to see if I can pop this big booger loose and hit it with a magnet. And see, if the magnet does not pick that up, I will keep it. And yep, I'm going to keep that one. That's what I do anymore when I'm going to even hit it with the strong magnet. Now that neodymium magnet will pick it up because it's probably got some nickel plating in it. When you test your MLCCs, you want to use a regular magnet. If that regular magnet doesn't pick it up, then it's a good one. So, or it should be a good one. So we are going to keep that. I'm going to take one of these other little ones off of here and see if they're magnetic, because this is actually old enough to be right in that borderline of having good MLCCs or not, and I can already tell that that's magnetic because well, maybe not, we'll see. No, it's actually, well, yeah, it picked it up, but that's small enough. Now it picked it up without touching it. So that little guys I'm not going to worry about. Just throw them away. There is a little switch here where the on-off switch is right there, so I'm going to pop that off because that's probably going to have some silver, a little bit of silver plating, or a very tiny silver contact. So that's what we've got so far. And I'm going to go ahead and depopulate this board because I'm not going to keep any of those MLCCs. So there's a few chips on it. I'll go ahead and get them off of there and I'll get back to you. Okay guys, I got the board depopulated. There is enough gold trace on this board that I would actually keep it because it's got all this here, this. So I have a box of these, or a little box of just light, not heavy plated boards, but that have this trace stuff on them. And periodically when I have absolutely nothing to do, which is rare, I'll actually take a set of snippers and I'll cut most of this trace off, and then I'll throw this in another bucket because it's got the little dots all over it. gold, gold dots, and I'll process that sometime down the road. These little black guys that look like the black tantalum, I don't know for sure if there's anything in these or if there's any silver in them. I know there's guys out there that do this all the time. Like I said, I'm not the best at chips, at identifying chips. I pretty much know the good ones and the decent ones, but I'm going to keep those anyway one day and just burn them and do a little test on them, unless somebody tells me down in the comments I'm wasting my time. So if you do know these other chips, if they are these other little capacitors or resistors or whatever they would call them, if you know if these are no good, if there's nothing in them, then I'll just start pitching them. What we did get out of that was we got these little 8-legged guys, and it looks like it's going to be either silver plating or palladium in there. We did get one big, nice, it's thin, but one nice MLCC. This connector has gold-plated pins in it, 2 tantalums, 4 little 8-legged IC chips, and one nice big flat pack or 4-sided chip, whatever you choose to call it. Some people just think the top of the BGAs are flat packs. I've always heard these called flat packs, so that's what I call them. Anyhow, and a lot of crap plastic. So that's what's inside of that. I'm going to go ahead and do something else here, and we'll move along. Alrighty guys, we might as well stick with the medical stuff for right now. I have never done one of these either, so I'm curious to see what's in here. I have yet to find maybe a screw there. I think I'm going to look for the screws first this time. And that looks like it's just a hole. Alright, so this thing must snap together. So let's see what we can, maybe check under these, make sure. Aha, there's some screws. Had to be screws in it somewhere. And these will just go in the little, I have jars and jars and jars of screws. Big jars. Okay. Well, either it's not loose or it don't want to come out. There it goes. So that's trash. Now let's see if we can get this to separate. Okay, so that's the cover. It's just waste plastic. So far this medical stuff does seem to be put together fairly decent. And it does look like it has some, not a lot, but at least what's in it is pretty good. Let me take this off. That's more waste plastic. More waste plastic. That's our LCD. We've got a little switch here on a little board, so we'll go ahead and take it loose. It's kind of fun sometimes to get, the boards get, Dustin is actually 999 Dustin or Dustin or however he says his name. He's actually been doing some oddball scrapping videos, and it's interesting to see what's in some stuff. I mean, some stuff you wouldn't think it'd be worth anything, and it actually is worth something. I've been, when I was staying awake or couldn't sleep good because I was worried about my art, I was laying on the couch watching some of his stuff on the TV. One thing that's bad about watching stuff on the TV is you can't comment. You can like, but you can't leave a comment. You have to be on your computer or your phone. Okay, that must be the little pump that pumps, pumps the armband. And these little pumps are, they're pretty potent. So, I mean, if you got a use for a little air pump, that thing might come in handy. I don't see too much circuitry in here unless it's behind this. I'm not seeing too much of anything on this. Get a little cutter here to cut these wires off, and we'll open it up further and see what we can find. Now this thing, I actually thought there would have been more in it than in that glucose tester, but apparently not. So far we have one little switch, and that little switch probably has silver plating in it. It's probably not big enough to have a contact. There's more trash. So we've got one little silver switch, which I will actually remove from this board, because I'm not going to keep that whole board for that one little switch, even though it's not a big board. I'll throw that in my little switch bag, and that's trash. Okay, these are the wires going to where the batteries go, which I'll throw over here in my wire bag. These are the wires going to the motor, and this is probably a little sensor or something that tells it to stop right here. I'm not sure. Or tells it to start. This is like a blow-off valve here. And this is held in by two screws. Let's take them loose. I might not put that in with my copper bearing motors. I might just keep that little pump, because that little pump is pretty strong. I mean, anybody who has ever used one of these knows that you know, I mean, it'll pump that thing up where it feels like it's cutting your arm off. So this little pump may be good for something. It's another thing that scrappers do. We keep a lot of crap we'll never use. It's hard to part with something that you know works. I try to at least maybe keep it and give it to somebody that can do something with it, if I'm not going to use it. Okay, let's see if we can get that booger out of here. So that's the pump. That's a little metal bracket. Is it metal or nope? That's actually plastic. It's a little plastic bracket that holds that pump in. Let's see if we can get this out of here in one piece. That is just slipped down in there, so that should come out. So that's your little pump. So I would assume, here's your motor, here's your pump. I would assume that this is what tells the rest of this thing what to do. So, and that's an adjustment screw, probably to adjust the pressure. So that's what I'm guessing that is. If anybody knows anything about these, or they need one, or they want one, there it is. So far we've got that motor. I don't know what's in here. Looks like it's a coil. We got one little silver switch and a lot of plastic so far. So let's see what's in this. Let's get our pliers and turn this straight. Take our LCD off of this, and we'll see if there's anything worth having. This is definitely a little different for me. Like I said, I've never done these two things we just did. I've never taken them apart before. So, well, we do have a little bit under here. I'm not going to bother pulling this apart. It was obviously connected, you know, against this. We've got some, that's actually fairly nice too. We've got some gold trace here. We've got a chip here. I don't remember what they call these, but I know they won't process like your regular chips, so I just keep a little jar of them. I don't know where it is right now, but I have a little, I cut this out and I throw it in that little jar. We've got a chip here. We've got I'm not sure what that is under there or how it works. Let's see. That appears to turn. Well, we're scrapping it, so it don't matter, right? Let's just take it off and see what's under there. And this, I would say, be very careful because this metal is really sharp. This stuff, this will cut you like a razor if you ain't careful. And I'm assuming it's regular metal. Yep. So we will throw that in the steel bucket. And I actually don't know. I can't tell if that's brass right here or if that's gold plated. It's just a little bit sticking out right there. It kind of looks like gold plating, but I'm not sure. This thing actually turns into here, but it's soldered here. So let me see if I can get a hold of it and get it to turn. Well, apparently it ain't going to do it. Well, there we go. Alright, we got it. Okay. Cut that little wire and see what goes on in here. Okay, so this board just has the one chip, this little guy here, a little three-legged guy. I don't know if that's an an old style MLCC or not. It's got a few little MLCCs on it, but it's got some nice trace plating, so that would probably be another board I would keep. And I will cut that chip. I'll cut this chip out and I'll put it in my container with that. So that would probably be another board I'd throw in that trace bucket stuff. And I want to see what's in here. This has got me pretty curious. Apparently that's copper. Yeah, it's copper now. I can see it. It's not gold. I don't know what is under this, but we are going to find out. More little plastic stuff. Oop, that one went flying. That's a nice little, let me make sure it's not just plated. Yeah, that's a nice little piece of copper right there. So we got a little copper out of this thing so far. And a little tiny bit of silver in that. And we got a motor. What this does, or what it is, I have no idea. That looks like it's soldered to that. That again is more copper, or dirty copper. This appears to be copper as well. And like I said, I have no idea what function this has or what it does. But anyway, I'm not going to keep prying on it. You can probably take a pair of pliers and just bust this plastic off of it and get it. So, on the LCD, we've got a little bit of scrap metal around it. I think they're supposed to be indium. I've heard somebody say, again, probably it was 999 Dussin. I don't know how to recover it, and I don't keep them. I mean, I don't have any use for them. So I'm just going to throw this in the trash heap. This will go in the metal bucket. Yep. And that's that one. So maybe we'll do one more, something else. I don't know how long this video is getting, but there's really not a lot in this one. Okay, I'm going to depopulate this, what I'm going to take off of it. I'm going to take that little transistor or three-leggy thing. Sometimes these are silver. And I'm going to take this two-sided chip. I'm going to cut this out. And that'll go in my little trace box. I just wanted to show you, recap real quick again what we got off of this blood pressure thing. after getting this in better light right here, that is not gold underneath there. I have a yellower bulb on one side and a whiter bulb on the other side, so depending on which way I'm leaning at the bench, like cool light and bright white light, and if I'm more towards the cool side, stuff looks golder, and that's probably why I mistook this for gold. But this will go in my trace box. There is a lot of little gold trace on it. I did cut off the nicer pieces of trace that are, you know, pretty much clean, that didn't have anything on them but the gold. There was these 3 little copper guys in there. Here's the chip I was talking about. And I don't have many of these. A lot of times they'll come off of a mouse, a laptop mouse. They're on those and some other stuff. But I'll keep them one day and I'll burn them off. There's gold bond wires in those. We got this pump and motor and I guess this little goober here that tells it what to do. Scrap wise, there's not, you know, this little bit of silver. This might have a little silver in it, and this one chip. I don't know, unless I had nothing else to do or couldn't get my hands on anything else. I don't know that I would bother even messing with this. If you got a place that'll buy just electronics in bulk, that's probably the way to go with that. The most valuable thing in here is probably this motor, and that's if you got something to do with it, or this pump. That again was our glucose tester. That I think I would go after those again, especially if this is palladium. If that's palladium in there, in these chips, then they're definitely worth going after. We know there's silver and palladium in those. I don't know what's in those over there. That's the little black goobers. I said that they look like the tantalum, the black tantalum capacitors. And then we got really a nice flat pack in there, or a nice 4-sided chip. You can tell it's older because it is one of the thick ones. And I don't know that the thick ones have any more or any less wire than the newer ones, the thinner flat packs. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to do that. I got a couple other things I got over here, those remotes and that camera. These things have been laying around for a long time because, you know, I just haven't had time to fool with it, and I didn't figure they were going to be worth fooling with. And like I said, this I probably wouldn't bother with again. Unless, like I said, if that's all you can get your hands on. You know, there's gonna come a day when our pickings are gonna get very slim. I mean, it's already happening now. You know, I get a lot of laptops now. I don't get that many desktops anymore. The ones I do get have little tiny boards in them, and they have those processors on them that really ain't even worth bothering to take them off a board. I mean, I think you only get a couple dollars a pound for them. So anyhow, guys, I'll get back at you when we do this next video, so we will see you then. Everybody stay safe and take care.